Okay, so let me begin by making it clear that I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a financial consultant. And so this disclaimer is here because that's necessary by law. Even though I am not giving advice, I am sharing information, principles. I'm speaking about systems that affords us to be able to access wealth in ways that are uncommon and unusual and even new, and in a way that you can make informed decisions about that. What we're going to be talking about is applying the four laws of wealth creation. And for those who may not know me, my name is David Homer. I have spent the last 25 years, up until 5 years ago, that is, in the practice of naturopathic medicine. I owned and operated a couple of different clinics. I retired 5 years ago. And ever since I've retired, I have been placing more attention um, towards looking at financial security, looking at wealth creation, looking at maintaining that type of stability for the future. Of course, those things become more in front of us as we begin to get older, and especially when we get into those retirement years. Throughout my years of clinical practice, um, a common theme that I heard from most of the patients was how expensive it was or how costly it was to live healthy. And the only solution I could give them was ways of how they can manage their diets and how they may spend money on what they ate in order to try and contain that. What was always missing is ways in how people can actually create not just income streams, but in the case of what we're going to be talking about this evening, to create real wealth. We are not talking about looking for a side hustle or something that you can do along with your current jobs or whatever we may be involved in to be able to create some income to pay some bills, or maybe even to become debt free. That's not what we're talking about this evening. We're talking about how to become financially secure. We're talking about to become financially independent, but not just that, but to do so in sustainable ways, very real ways of which we can create wealth. Now, there are four laws that we must harness and that must come together if we're going to not just create wealth, but create it in a sustainable way that we can look forward to and be ensured of a secured financial future. And so we're going to look at these four laws. We're going to be talking about how it empowers us to create sustainable financial security. And when I say empower us, I'm not talking about for us to have to go out there and to hustle to try to make it work and try to be able to create this wealth. I'm talking about empowerment because we have access to tools, access to systems, access to environments, access to things that we'd never had access to before that we can use to actually to literally create wealth. And this is unique because we have not had this opportunity before. So I want us to know that what we're going to be talking about, this is not one of those opportunities that promises um, financial independence somewhere down the road if you're willing to put in the time and the effort to get there. This is not that. This is applying principles within a system that contains these four laws that will create wealth, not for some, but for everyone who participates and applies. Everyone. Do I mean everyone? I mean 100% of those who participate and apply these laws, 100% will be able to create wealth. Now, that in itself may sound strange because such systems and that type of opportunity we have not seen or heard before. There are these four sustainable laws, these laws that create sustainable wealth. It applies across the board, across the world. It doesn't matter what you're involved in, what you're doing. If you're going to talk about building sustainable wealth where it continues to flow and we can rely on it, not just for our futures, but generationally, we must be able to harness these four laws. The first one of value creation, we have to have something that is solving real problems for humanity, or we have to be providing needed goods and services that people will need. What we're going to be talking about is doing both. And it's doing both in a way that is on a global scale. We also need to be able to harness ownership. We need to be able to own appreciating assets that generate steady income. Ownership meaning that it belongs to us and we own it for life, for our lifetime, but it must be assets that continually generate income for us. We must also be able to leverage that income. We need to be able to tap into resources that will multiply it. And leverage, of course, we take whatever is available, what resources we have, and we take all that is being produced and we are going to multiply it. And then we need to be able to do this in an environment where it is able to be compounded and grow exponentially, not grow linearly, grow exponentially. And it happens within the matrix of what we're going to be talking about because it is money leveraging money, which is a concept that is unfamiliar. We may talk about leveraging time and leveraging other resources, but to understand how money leverages money, money making more money, we're talking about being able to participate in an environment and within a system that gives us access to all four of these components, where we can tap into these four principles and truly create wealth. How is that possible? It's possible because we are now at the threshold of entering a brand new age of functionality on this planet. Within the financial system, the global monetary system, from top to bottom, the entire system is in a process of shift. It has been going on for the last decade and a half. And we're at this threshold where we're about to cross over into a brand new era of things. It is the digital revolution that's been going on quietly behind the scenes. Most of us will be aware that 90% of the money that moves on this planet happens digitally. We don't, people don't physically handle money as much as they used to. And we've come to a point where that is going to start to decrease even more. But the dawning of this new tokenized age, as it's being called, that's a term that many are not familiar with, but it will become more and more familiar as we go through 2026 and beyond. This tokenized age is because of the digital revolution, but because of what it presents to humanity, it's now given us access to building generational wealth, something that we never had access to before. And if it's one thing that I would like to get across to us is this, that what we are entering in, this age that we have before us, that we're standing in right now, but presently unaware, is truly giving us access to capabilities of how we can produce wealth that was not accessible before. The digital revolution is not primarily about currency or how money is changing its form. It's more so about how we can reclaim financial control. This is important for us to understand. We can't get into the depths of any of these things right now because this is just an overview to bring an understanding of what we have available to us today. but it is a move away from centralized power to decentralized system where it is now shared across the board and not controlled by one central authority. It is a move away from just static money to where value is now being redefined in ways beyond what we understand money to be. We'll touch on some of that. It's moving away from trusted institution that held the control to transparent ecosystems where everyone can participate in various ways. And so we're moving away from this scarcity-based control. Scarcity-based because it was centralized and controlled by those at the top, the elites, the privileged, the ones that in the 1 or 5 percenters of the world, it and because of how the system has been structured, it created this scarcity-based control because there were powers that be that determine how money and value flows on the planet. That now is changing, where everyone can actively participate. We have moved from the industrial age, where human value was determined by our capacity for output and production. In that age, the thought and the aspiration to produce millions was the apex of everything. What was the apex of finance? Then we evolved into the information age, where human value was defined by knowledge and creativity. And financial aspirations of the authorities that be were to create billions. And we have seen that. We're still in that age, and we are now evolving into what is called the tokenized age, where it's more about participation, ownership, and contribution. And the capacity for earning now escalates into the trillions. So no one wants to become a millionaire in the financial world or a billionaire. It's now trillionaires. And this digital finance that's shifting, it may have changed the way money is spent, but the digital economy that's evolving right now, it's digitizing ownership and it's actually beginning to reduce poverty. And this has become the new architecture of how wealth is going to be created. Tokenized age equals digital ownership. And this ownership is no longer reserved for the wealthy. You and I, we can now participate in ways in the economy where where we have access to the 4 laws of wealth creation, where we can literally do that. You see, digital ownership, it opens up channels of income and opportunity directly into communities and it redistributes wealth. But it's important for us to understand that the redistribution of wealth that has begun and it will begin to evolve as time goes by, it's not from the top down as some people are thinking, from those who have at the top, for those who are trying to get at the bottom. It's not a redistribution from the top. The redistribution of wealth comes from open participation that's available to us that we did not have before. What that means is the same source and supply of income that the few at the top tap into, the same wellspring that they receive is the same resources that we have now. So it's not about those that have shifting over here so that some over here may not have as much. That's not what this new economy is. This new economy is that the pipelines now connect from individuals right into the source itself. And I'm saying that because it is simply a matter of choice now. But that choice cannot be made unless we understand what we have before us and understand this world that is being created around us right now and how we can participate in it. So the first video I'm going to show us It's a generic video from YouTube, not by any particular system or company. It just gives us information, but it clearly articulates this, what we are moving into, and it helps us to frame what we're going to be talking about. Listen to it carefully. And this video, by the way, I would encourage you, if you can get it on YouTube, it is worth listening to over and over, because we're not going to fully capture all the points that it makes, even though it's just a short video. Let's take a listen.
Forget everything you thought you knew about money. We're living through a quiet revolution, a moment where the very definition of value is being rewritten. The world is tokenizing, and money, believe it or not, is just the beginning. When most people hear crypto, they think of Bitcoin, a digital currency floating in cyberspace. But that's like looking at the invention of the internet and only seeing email. What's truly happening is far bigger, far more profound. We're witnessing the birth of a new digital layer for our entire economy. This isn't just about digital cash. Imagine owning a fraction of a skyscraper in Tokyo, a piece of a Monet painting, or even a share in a forest that generates carbon credits. This is the promise of tokenization. We're taking real-world assets, real estate, art, intellectual property, you name it, and transforming them into digital tokens that live on a blockchain. These aren't just JPEGs. They're digital twins of physical things, carrying ownership rights, history, and value. Suddenly, assets that were once illiquid and exclusive are becoming divisible, tradable, and accessible to anyone with an internet connection. It's the democratization of ownership on a scale we've never seen before. So, how is this all possible? The engine driving this transformation is blockchain technology. But let's be clear, blockchain isn't just a fleeting trend, it's a fundamental infrastructure shift, as significant as the railways or the internet itself. Think of it as a new financial architecture being built right under our noses. For decades, our financial system has been a patchwork of slow, expensive, and centralized databases. Blockchain offers a different model, a shared, transparent, and immutable ledger. It's like upgrading from a horse-drawn carriage to a high-speed magnetic levitation train. We're building digital bridges between the old world of finance, Web 2, and the new decentralized world of Web 3, creating a system that's more efficient, transparent, and interconnected. This new architecture brings with it a new set of rules and a fundamental shift in power. In this new world, ownership is becoming programmable. Through something called smart contracts, self-executing agreements written in code, we can define exactly how an asset behaves. Imagine a share of stock that automatically pays you dividends, or a digital concert ticket that grants you access to exclusive content after the show. Your digital identity can be verified instantly without relying on a central authority. This isn't just about buying and selling. It's about embedding logic, rights, and rules directly into our assets. It's a world where the code is, quite literally, the law. Power is shifting from intermediaries to individuals. So, the billion-dollar question is, who wins in this massive transition? It's not just the early crypto adopters or the Wall Street giants. The winners will be those who can bridge the gap, the ones who understand both the language of capital and the logic of code. They are the new hybrid investors, the digital architects who can see the connections between traditional markets and this emerging token economy. They'll use sophisticated AI-driven tools to navigate this complex landscape, managing portfolios that seamlessly blend stocks, bonds, and tokenized assets. This isn't about choosing one world over the other, it's about mastering both. The ability to speak both languages, finance and technology, will be the defining skill of the next generation of wealth creation. But let's not get carried away by the hype. This new frontier is exciting, but it's also fraught with risk. With great power comes great responsibility, and decentralization without sensible guardrails can quickly lead to chaos. We've already seen glimpses of this: dramatic flash crashes on unregulated exchanges, billions lost to hacks, and protocols collapsing overnight. The speed of innovation is far outpacing the speed of regulation, creating a Wild West environment where investors are vulnerable. Security is a constant battle, and the promise of a trustless system still relies heavily on the integrity of its underlying code. Navigating this world requires not just optimism, but a healthy dose of skepticism and a deep understanding of the potential pitfalls. This is more than just an investment trend. It's the future of our financial system taking shape in real time. The rules are being written right now, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Understanding this new system isn't optional anymore. It's essential for anyone who wants to protect their wealth, seize new opportunities, and have a say in the financial world of tomorrow. This isn't a game you can afford to sit out, because whether you participate or not, this new system is being built around you.
I just want to, just for a minute, revisit those four laws of creating wealth, which applies to anyone, anywhere in the world. Because of this system, this new financial system that's taking place, you and I, and every other human being for that matter, because of what was just articulated here and encapsulated here, we can now have the first law is value creation. We now have access to that in ways that we may not have had before, because to create value or to create a product or service that has a need and solve problems for humanity, the capital it may take and the ingenuities, etc., which might have been prohibitive for us, that now becomes a different story. Ownership, which is the second law of creating wealth, is you need to own assets that appreciate in value, that creates continuous streams of income. Within this new system, that now becomes accessible because of the tokenized economy in ways that was not accessible before. And just when I say tokenized economy and tokenization, they give some brief descriptions, but imagine that you were planting a tree in your backyard, and when you were digging, you struck some oil. And you got some experts to come and evaluate, and they scanned and they did their thing, and they said, you know, we've determined that you have 1 million barrels of oil in the ground. Well, you now have instantly become a multimillionaire, but you live a simple life and you don't have the wherewithal to be able to extract, to create this infrastructure to be able to extract that oil and turn it into the millions of dollars. But because of the tokenized economy that we're in now, you now have the ability, with that oil still in the ground, to tokenize that 1 million barrels of oil, receive that money in your hand while the oil is still in the ground, and those that have purchased the oil own the tokens that represent barrels of oil in the ground. That is value that they have that they can use in the real world as collateral, even though the oil is still in the ground and you have your millions. And they can now use it as though they have millions as well. The implications of what tokenization means is far reaching. And what's driving it, as you've heard, is blockchain technology. The world is seeing a shift from what we know as Web 2, what we are currently using, and it's evolving into Web 3, where all sectors of the economy, not just finance, but healthcare, real estate, and all other sectors of the economy is all migrating to blockchain. And for when you understand why, which we're not going to get into, you understand why the world is moving towards that. So blockchain is what's driving this technology. The challenge is we have heard about blockchain associated with cryptocurrencies since the advent of Bitcoin. And since then, there's been a lot of cryptocurrencies come out. There's been the evolution of blockchain technology, and it has advanced tremendously until then. But the problem has been that cryptocurrencies was not readily accepted into the digital economy because the innovation was outpacing regulation. And because of that, a lot of things happened in the shadows that people just didn't trust. And then something happened that changed all of that. And it only happened a short
At
7 months ago. This is what happened for those of us who may not be aware. And it has shifted everything and brought the world to a threshold that is now crossing over. This is what happened.
This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act. I pledge that we would bring back American liberty and leadership and make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and that's what we've done. The Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins.
This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally. This is a huge promise made and promise kept by President Trump. We have a deal maker in chief, and it's because of your vision, your leadership, your determination, your skill that we're all here today. So thank you very much, President Trump.
With today's signing, the future of crypto and the crypto industry, the U.S. dollar working together is going to be stronger and bigger and better than ever before. And thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
The players in this crypto space, the movers and the shakers, as they say, they have recognized what this means for the world, because this is not just America, but now we have regulation has now met up with the innovation, and the leaders in this space, those of us who are in the crypto space, will know these leaders here, and they recognize what that means.
My name is Michael Maybach. I'm the CEO at MasterCard, and we just witnessed the signing of the Genius Bill.
This is really the beginning of a financial revolution here in America. With the passing of this, we've got crypto stablecoins now that can be built right here in America to make every payment fast, cheap, and more global.
It enables us to upgrade the financial system, make it fairer, more accessible.
The president was able to achieve one of the most important changes in the legal framework in the United States to allow the creation and the safely usage of stablecoins.
This is going to mean fantastic benefits for individuals and businesses around, and looking forward to the great results for crypto and for the U.S.
This is a great day for crypto. This is a great day for the U.S. dollar, and it's a great day for America.
This is foundational legislation, foundational regulation that is going to unlock the power of the internet in rebuilding the financial system.
Not only that, but it positions the U.S. as the global leader in this new digital assets industry, which I think is incredibly important.
So this, you're hearing financial revolution, updating financial systems, new payment systems. There's a whole shift. Now that this is now legal, cryptocurrency is now legal tender. It is now law. Every bank in the United States and every bank around the world. And what's been driving this shift? In the first video, you heard that there's this world that was silently being built around us, and most of us were unaware who was building it. Well, do your research. In fact, everything I'm going to be talking about and telling you, you can fact check. You can search a lot of the details. Who's been building this world? SWIFT, the international banking network that interconnects all the banks around the world. You'll see that at the end of 2025, they're now upgraded to blockchain platform. The Bank of International Settlements, central banks around the world. In fact, the central banks around the world are now all piloting their own cryptocurrencies. This is going to become, we are now in an age where cryptocurrencies is going to become the mainstay. And as Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, he said in less than 10 years, cash will become extinct. And that is where we are. But what does it mean for you and I? For the world, it is a complete shift in the financial system. And I want to put that into a little bit of a context in that this is not the monetary system in a vacuum changing. This is the entire world shifting on a completely new functional landscape. Meaning, in the same way that electricity changed the world, when we shifted from candles and oil lamps, when all the world knew was that to light rooms and spaces, and along came electricity and bulbs that lit a room with the flick of a switch, one would have thought that the world would have embraced it right away. But history tells us it took more than a generation. It took 50 to 60 years for the world to adopt to something so dramatic as electricity and lighting spaces with electricity. It took a long time for the world. When the world woke up to the revelation of it and the necessity for it, the world had already adopted to it. The same thing has happened with the internet. When people are still trying to catch up to the internet. It took 36 years for people to begin to see the value of the internet. But imagine trying to live in this world without electricity right now. Imagine trying to function in this world with no internet. What a very different world we'll have. What I'm talking about, what this digital revolution is bringing, is that magnitude of a change. It's not just the financial system inside of an economy, it is shifting the entire world to a different landscape of functionality. But what it means for you and I is this.
My name is Michael Meba.
It means that we now have expanded earning potential that we did not have before. This is how we can begin to reclaim financial control. Because of digital assets and tokenized systems and this global peer-to-peer platforms that emerge and we have access to now, we can now create new income streams that never existed before. And I want to say this, that the income streams that we're going to be talking about are very uncommon because they're income streams that feed and automate themselves and pour out a capacity of earning potential that the average person has never seen before. It also gives us financial autonomy where we get to determine how money is earned, where money goes, how it is used, and how we can grow it. That type of autonomy the average person has not had before. And thirdly, it gives us the capacity to create generational wealth in ways that was not possible and not available before. Because what digital ownership means today, which is accessible to everybody today, it builds and passes on wealth in new ways that are enduring, that is likely to outlive us. For the first time, the average person now have the opportunity not just to create wealth, but truly to create a legacy of it and generational wealth in ways that we did not have access to. The average person is going to wake up one day and recognize what they have missed because by the time they wake up and realize how wonderful and massive and the opportunities that it brought, the world would have adopted to it. Why? Because just like it required a mindset shift and a shift in perspectives when the world went through major industrial changes, the same thing is likely to happen here. That's the pattern that has shown itself over the centuries. When we wake up to this tokenized world, when the world starts to wake up to it, the world would have adopted it. But and the ones who saw it early are the ones who benefit the most from it. This is a world that has been being built and emerging, but we are now at the precipice. 7 months ago, when Donald Trump signed that Genius Act and brought into law what was once a nebulous thing floating in a shadow, and it's now legal, the entire world has been preparing for it, and now they're ready to now run on these rails. And so what it means for us is massive. Blockchain technology is the engine that's going to drive this and all other sectors of the economy. Many people know the term, but it is simply the digital infrastructure that's driving global finance, and that is across the board. And it's simply decentralized, meaning it is shared, meaning that no central control or authority controls it. That's one of the beauties of this new world that we're emerging into. It is transparent, it is immutable, and it's a ledger that is secured by a global network of what is called CPU nodes. CPU is computer processing units. This is just digital software, and that is what collectively validates and records everything that happens on a blockchain. Not just financial transactions, but everything that moves within the infrastructure, it's recorded, validated by these CPU nodes. Why is that important for us? Because CPU nodes that maintain blockchain networks, they are fractionally owned by individuals. Why is that, and how is that possible? Because the nature of the digital era and the tokenized age is decentralized finance, meaning no one authority must own it. So you and I get an opportunity to own the infrastructure, and your mind has to capture this, the very engine that runs global economies. We get to own part of that infrastructure. So you see, in essence, a blockchain network is owned by a global community. This is not anything new. This has been this way since the advent of blockchain technology. But because of its advancements over the years, to be a node owner where you get to own part of the infrastructure and what that means, we had to invest into specialized equipment, computers, and hardware infrastructure to be able to participate in being a node owner on a blockchain network. That's changed today. Today, it doesn't require any of that because of the advancements in technology. Well, for those who are not familiar with it, this video, which is less than a minute, gives us an idea of what a node is.
Nodes, the unsung heroes that tirelessly support blockchain infrastructure and lets all blockchain systems keep themselves in check. Think of them as the backbone of the blockchain. Networks require decentralized validation to ensure the security of transactions, where a decentralized network acts as a safeguard. Curious to learn more about how an everyday individual can participate in decentralized finance as a banker? That's where Miracle comes in. Node investments can be your ticket to passive income. As transactions flow through the blockchain, you, as a node investor, earn a share of the pie. It's a revolutionary way to make your money work for you, without the need for constant oversight. Our new products, Node and Leveler, are designed to make you a first mover in the world of blockchain investment. Embrace the future with Miracle, where Node, Phoenix, and Leveler work together to mitigate fluctuations. Your future starts here.
This is one way where we can participate in an infrastructure that gives us access to tapping into the 4 laws of creating wealth. This is where it can begin. And to understand and to think about this, as you have to open your mind to understand that a global financial system that runs on this type of technology and is owned by individuals, not big corporations. We'll come to see what that means. Now, the video just touched on the fact that every time that transactions take place on a blockchain platform, there's always going to be fees that are paid to validate transactions in pretty much the same way every time money moves in the banking system, within the payment system, whether you're using a credit card, a debit card, whether it's online purchases, whether it's point of sale terminals in a store. Regardless, when anyone, there's always a transaction fee. Online, when you tap your card or swipe your card, there are always fees. When you move your money inside of a banking system, there's always fees. The same thing happens here, but it happens on a blockchain platform. Now, I'm going to help us to understand what that's going to mean for us and how this further evolves into helping us to tap in to those 4 laws. So we're at this point in the tokenized future, and it's not about the old system going away because they're upgrading themselves. It's about how to bridge the traditional finance with this new digital tokenized economy, how to bridge it. What has happened now is that now that the world is ready, this is all very new. Legislation is still being laid down throughout across the globe with this. But right now, there are $4 trillion being held in crypto wallets around the world without a system where it can be freely used as easily and seamlessly like you use a debit or credit card anywhere. Imagine being able to use cryptocurrency as freely as you can tap, swipe, or insert a credit card or a debit card or online payments at checkout. Imagine using cryptocurrency regardless of what type of cryptocurrency, regardless of what blockchain it runs on, because in the world, that does not exist. It doesn't exist currently where multiple chains can interface and multiple currencies can be transacted at one point of sale terminal. That doesn't exist until now. One company that has a global footprint has come to the table at a time, and for the last 8 years, they've been building their infrastructure just like many other institutions have been planning for it. This company has been building the infrastructure, waiting for this point where the old and the new can be bridged. The company, its umbrella is called Metaterra, and it's shaping the future of finance. Under that umbrella is Miracle Technologies, a global fintech ecosystem that comprises of over 20 companies. They have their own blockchain. It's called a Miracle Chain, and it's a unique blockchain infrastructure. All blockchains have a native token or cryptocurrency that is the fuel for that system. Miracle's cryptocurrency is called Phoenix. So in this ecosystem, what makes it uniquely different comes out in this short where Kevin O'Leary, many people will know him as from Shark Tank, they call him Mr. Wonderful, a very successful investor. He says something about blockchain that really sets the understanding of what makes Miracle Technologies and Metaterra so different. Take a listen.
Kevin, help me understand how revolutionary this is for the economy, but not just the economy, because the economy feels far away. Like how we live, how we pay for things, how we go about our life.
So in the last 9 months, lots has changed. Number one, we had regulation on stablecoins, which is effectively digital payment systems. That's very important. It's now law and legal. Number two, we've been talking about putting Wall Street onto blockchain for 12 years. It's never happened because there's never been a good use case to do it. And nobody wants to rebuild the infrastructure on compliance on Wall Street until now. Now, let me give you an example. If you think about now that digital payment systems are legal, and let's talk about a use case for consumers, your phone. Now, if you could be right beside your favorite coffee shop or pizza joint or burger joint and simply say, large Mac, mac and cheese, fries, that's it. That's all you have to say. Now, why will that work? Because your phone, through AI, knows where you are. It knows where they are. It has a digital payment system on chain, and it sends that $4 order in a nanosecond right to the register there. They know who you are, so when you walk in a minute and a half later, you pick up your burger or your slice or your coffee or your groceries or your dry cleaning or anything you want. The only thing holding us up on this vision, but believe me, there's a lot of people trying to solve for this, is the blockchain itself. Ethereum, everybody knows that name, and Solana is also popular over the last 3 years. They're too slow because you're going to be doing 100 million transactions around the world every minute. And that's going to get very stuck on those chains. And that happened a couple of weekends ago in Ethereum when all of a sudden it was just a mess when they had a big correction in digital markets and the crypto markets. So we've got to build off that, and that's coming soon. But
well, that soon time is here, and Miracle Technologies have been building this for the last 8 years. And here's the problem, which has been solved by this global enterprise. The problem is now that the world is ready for crypto digital payments to be accepted as legal tender, that interoperability between cryptocurrencies, between blockchains, in a way that it interfaces as seamlessly as a regular debit or credit card would, that problem that Kevin O'Leary just mentioned, that is one of the things that Miracle has solved. They have solved, so now they're solving a real world problem by bringing the technology. And more than that, they're first for that, but they're also the first to bring blockchain to Wall Street. So you've heard him say that for 12 years, they've talked about bringing blockchain to Wall Street. Nobody could be bothered with it because it's not an easy task to do. Metaterra is bringing blockchain to Wall Street. It's also bringing the infrastructure of a global financial payment system with global interoperability to the world at the same time. They now have payment systems that will do that, and I'm just going to touch a little bit on how that works. Their payment systems for everyday functionality using cryptocurrencies, and that is made possible with what we are doing here tonight through the marketing arm of Metaterra and Miracle Technologies. It's called Bellator. So I'm just going to touch on that briefly to stay within the context that we can see how this gives us access to functioning within an environment that gives us access to the 4 laws of creating sustainable wealth. Just to get a glimpse of Metaterra, because it's important that we get the confidence that the leadership behind this is one that is visionary enough and has viability and stability and credibility enough that this would be an institution that has longevity. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the individuals here, but all of them have made the mark within the technology and the finance areas. Hakan Torhan, who's a banking pioneer, he's the visionary and the CEO and the founder of it that started building Miracle 8 years ago. Douglas Anderson is the chairman of Metaterra. He's also the CEO of Wall Street Capital Partners, and he's the primary person that's driving it to bring in Metaterra onto Wall Street. Some people may know Stephen Norris. He is a well-known icon in asset management, being the founder and co-founder of the Carlyle Group. These are big asset management companies that run alongside things like BlackRock. These are people that are known in the world. People might know Stephen Norris. He's a global economist, well-respected, was appointed by the first Trump administration to be the chairman of the Federal Reserve. Personal reasons, he declined that, but well-respected economist. John Bear, his technology is what runs streaming technology today. That is his technology. In fact, he has set the global standard for what is known today as streaming technology. With that Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus, his technology has done that. He's also the founder of Widevine, whose technology was bought over by Google and now serves as part of Google's backbone. So we're talking about people that have years of building technology. These are veterans in the space. Monica Profit, she wrote the book Blockchain One-on-One. She's a specialist in that area. And all the rest of them, they're all icons in their area, and they are among the best of what they do. This leadership, these voices are shaping the future of the digital finance with a company that has not just global infrastructure with technology and expertise and know-how, but they have already developed quite a global footprint, having offices in 13 countries and one of the few blockchain, if not the only blockchain enterprise that has literal physical stores that you can walk into and transact in crypto or in fiat currencies. So their offices span from here in the US. The head office is in Cyprus, and they've spread across Europe. And so not only are they first to the world with what the world needs to bridge the old and the new systems, they're the first to bring blockchain to Wall Street, but they're also the first to set the framework, the groundwork, and create the first model of the largest tokenized project in the world. Right now, Metaterra is leading the construction of the largest airport that's going to be built in Europe, and it's going to be completely tokenized. You're talking about a $2.5 to $3 billion project that is going to be a completely tokenized project, meaning that it's not going to be a massive airport with a city surrounding it that's owned and was constructed by big conglomerates, big enterprises that own the infrastructure, own the facility. It is now going to be owned by any number of tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people, depending on how they tokenize it. And so they're now creating for the world the first model from the ground up of what a tokenized project of such a magnitude is going to be, what it looks like. They're going to set the standard for that. And all of that to say, ladies and gentlemen, this company is a company that has massive strength, it has massive reach, and what it's bringing to the world has not been done before. Miracle Cash and More is the core platform that unites every sector of their ecosystem. And the ecosystem spans everything that you would want to find within a financial system or within a banking system. And it extends into the digital economy with things like platforms for tokenization, for launching, for any business that wants to scale on blockchain or wants to tokenize. They have the infrastructure, they have the tools, and they have the wherewithal for all of that. The Miracle Cash and More, this serves as the bridge between the two worlds. This is not trying to overtake or replace it, but through our digital wallets, which is how we interface in this world, this is the bridge that bridges and gives the strength to both. This is what makes the familiar world that we're accustomed to of how money moves and value moves and payments, and it's migrating it into the digital economy, interfacing them seamlessly like one at the same time. The first company of its type that's doing that. Within that system, there is Miracle Pay. Miracle Pay is the payment system that they are bringing to the world where everyday people can transact in crypto payments as easily and as freely and as seamlessly as using a regular debit or credit card. And so bridging the old to the new. So what is Miracle Pay? This will tell us, this short video will give us a little insight to that.
Let's rewind thousands of years to a time before money existed. How did people pay? A sack of wheat, some heavy metal, or maybe a live chicken? Trying to fit a chicken in your wallet? Not ideal. Luckily, financial revolutions followed one another, bringing us to the present day. And today, a new revolution begins. Miracle Pay. So, what is Miracle Pay? It's your innovative, secure, and transparent way to accept payments in any cryptocurrency. Why blockchain? Because it's decentralized. No more bank bureaucracy, no more endless paperwork. And security? It's not controlled by a few guys in a suit. It's secured by hundreds of millions of people across thousands of nodes worldwide. With Miracle Pay, you can get paid anywhere. Whether you're selling ice cream on a glacier in Alaska or selling hot tea in the middle of the Sinai Desert. We might question your business model, but never your payment system. 24/7 security, 99.9% uptime, and support for over 100 wallets. Miracle Pay is your trusted blockchain partner. Join Miracle Pay today. Integrate the future of payments into your business right now.
So Miracle Pay, it is a revolutionary platform, payment gateway that bridges. And how is it doing that? It's doing that by integrating its software into millions of terminals across the world. They're not installing hardware. Miracle is using the existing payment systems that already exist in the world. And these payment providers, these four global payment providers, have integrated their Miracle Pay software into their devices, similar to how Apple Pay was integrated. And those of you who have iPhones know that there are many places you can go and you can just tap your phone and just pay for stuff just like that. In the same way, Miracle Pay is being integrated into these devices. When you go to stores and checkout counters and so on, start looking at the name of the device that you are tapping or inserting your card into. And you're going to see 80 or 90% of the time is going to be one of these names: Ingenico, Pax, Verifone, or NCR. The four of these make up at least 80% of the global terminals in 120 countries. Ingenico has over 140 million terminals worldwide. Pax has over 100 million, Verifone 112, and so on. And even Shopify, we're integrated with them. And so you'll see that Miracle is not trying to bring something on top of what exists. They're integrating with what's already there, so that just like you can go out and use your cards using international crypto-enabled debit cards, whether it's at an ATM, a point of sale, or online, you can now use Miracle Pay to access use crypto payments. And if we own nodes, imagine a payment system that is global, that people are using all around the world with crypto payments, and that we own part of that, the infrastructure of that payment system. And as node owners, what that means for us is staggering in potential for what it can earn. Listen to this.
You've probably heard the saying, if only I were early. Early to Bitcoin, early to Amazon, early to Tesla. Well, here it is again. But this time, it's not about hype. It's about owning the rails of a new financial system. Introducing CPU nodes, digital assets that earn daily from real crypto transactions happening worldwide. Every time someone pays with crypto, in-store or online, a small fee powers the network. And if you own a node, you get paid. These nodes are already paying every single day in a digital currency undervalued today, but set to explode in the months ahead. We've secured contracts with 4 global terminal providers, giving us access to over 100 million active merchants. And we're also integrated with major online retailers, processing billions each month. When even a small percentage of that volume transacts in crypto, node rewards skyrocket. The system is active. Payouts have begun. We're funding our aggressive expansion, not with Wall Street, but with everyday people like you. Together, we're decentralizing wealth. By owning the new infrastructure of money, timing is everything. Own a node now and earn every day for life.
That phrase, earn every day for life, sounds so such a novel thing, but because we're not accustomed of that type of a potential where you're not just earning every day, but you're earning in a manner that is gradually and continually escalating and increasing, and that continues throughout your life. The thing about it that makes it so unusual is that it is completely passive, meaning that it's an investment that pays you without your involvement. Would you rather be the owner of a store that has a terminal and you're selling hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars a day in goods? Would you rather be the owner of that store where people come and tap and swipe their card? Or would you rather be the entity that gets a fee every time a card is tapped or swiped from millions of stores across the globe? That's what we are talking about becoming a part of. Now, the implications of that and what that means is all difficult to capture all at once. As you turn it over, like anything new, as you turn it over more and more in your mind, it expands and we begin to see more and more into it. But that is what mirrors. So we see that here it is that the world legislation has been laid down. We're entering into a new way of functionality across the global financial landscape. Systems are needed. Along comes a company that's being built for the last 8 years. They have now introduced a system. They're interfacing and integrating with the current payment systems right across the world. And because it's all happening in a new age that they call a tokenized age, it gives you and I an opportunity to own part of the system. And it runs on a technology, a blockchain technology that is so unique that is different to any blockchain that has ever existed before. You can run multiple cryptos across multiple chains, across a global platform of systems with a company that has global strength. That's the first of its type, the tokenized major projects, the first of its type, the Wall Street, the first of its type with a global payment system, and you and I get to own infrastructure. And I pause it. We own that infrastructure. All of us fractionally own it and what it means. And I'll show you, as this is the last video, and I'll show you in the conclusion what that really means for us.
Imagine a blockchain that's more than just technology. A blockchain that pays you to help it grow. Introducing Miracle Chain, the world's first revenue-sharing blockchain infrastructure. Designed from the ground up to fuel real businesses, real rewards, and real people. From the very first day, Miracle Chain powers it all. Crypto payments, merchant solutions, commissions, automation, and the viral Cha-Ching app spreading across the globe. At its core, the Phoenix token, fueling every transaction, every tap, every swipe, every payment. Demand grows and holders win. And it doesn't stop there. The Mirix token turns every moment of activity into your opportunity. Stake Mirix tokens to unlock revenue sharing, early access to token launches, and exclusive perks. And for those who want to earn from every corner of the chain, stake 4,000 Mirix tokens to become a Miracle Guardian node. This isn't just another blockchain. It's an economic engine designed for mass adoption, built for global scale. Billions are already being made in crypto. This time, you're early. This time, you share the upside. Welcome to Miracle Chain, the blockchain that grows with you. The future of wealth now belongs to everyone.
And ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't tell you with my limited understanding as it is of this new tokenized age that we're evolving into, and with what Metaterra and Miracle brings to the world, that last sentence of that video about wealth belongs to everyone, that is not a hype statement. That really is a reality. But many people will not see it because we don't understand these systems. It is so unusual to us. And there are those that will see it, and there are those that may catch it a little bit later, and then there are those that will wake up to it. But this is going to happen faster than people think. Now, the world is migrating to this, and if I encourage you, uh, everyone for that matter, even if you go away from here, what we talked about didn't resonate with you, that's okay. But do yourself a favor and at least explore what we are talking about, because it really is not optional whether we're going to participate in these systems. It's not optional. It's just a matter of when. So we're not talking about being involved in something that may or may not happen. The whole world is morphing into this. This is about being positioned correctly and rightly early within the change so that we benefit the most than those who finally wake up when the change has been adopted. How you become part of an owner within the infrastructure is that you have to own a node. Now, Miracle has several different types of nodes. The node that I'm highlighting this evening is what they call the CPU node, because it's the one that fuels, and the one that secures, and the one that records all the transactions that's taking place on the Miracle chain. Why is that important? Because it is the backbone of the very infrastructure upon which every system within the ecosystem, every sector of the ecosystem, every time something is tokenized, every time an asset is traded, every time every time a transaction happens online, in store, everything that moves in this ecosystem globally is validated by these nodes, of which we get a percentage of the fee. Why? Because we own the asset and we own it for life. Now, there is what they've called a super birthday box, which has 4 different types of nodes, including the CPU node that I particularly want to highlight. And the reason why I'm highlighting it is because for the year of 2025 that it was offered to the world, we were given notice by corporate that as of the 10th of January, which is tomorrow, these nodes will no longer be available to the public. And so they had an offering on it, and that offering ends tomorrow midnight, which is Hawaii time. So that's Sunday morning, 6 a.m. And so the birthday box has 4 different nodes. There are different types of nodes that do different things, earn at different levels with different potentials. So if you owned this birthday box that have 4 different types of nodes, plus you get 200 extra merit tokens with it, your earning potential is so huge that it can be mind-blowing. This normally will sell for $11,100, but the special is that it's going for $5,000, and that ends tomorrow as well. The CPU nodes, they're $1,200, and there's something that's blocking this. Anyway, there's $1,200, and you get 2 additional nodes free. So you get 3 for the price of 1. You can buy 3 nodes, you will get 6, or you can buy a package of 7 and get 14 nodes. You're making a purchase one time, and this is not one of those things that you have to look at renewals or maintenance fees or subscription. There's no hidden fees with it. It's one time, and that's a payment for life for an asset that is going to pay you for the rest of your life in ways that we're not even talking about right now that exist. But after tomorrow, this goes away. There's also another package that one can consider. It's called the Momentum Pack. The list price of it is $3,987. It's going for $1,500. You get two of the nodes, an international crypto debit card, 600 Demerits tokens, and you get a 12 months free subscription to the Cha-Ching app. The Cha-Ching app is an incredible app that helps you to run your business, your affairs, manage your how you're dealing with your investments, how your money moves, how to move your money. It's an incredible app that you have that you can work with. So that's how you do it. So you have the birthday bot, which is 5,000, normally 11,100. You have the CPU NFT nodes, 12, a pack of, you get 3 for 1. So you can get 3, 6, or 14 is the packages that's available now. And this offer ends tomorrow. And so what I want to conclude with is just to make it clear that when we're tapping into these 4 streams of income, one, we are solving a real world problem that the world has a need for now, that Miracle has been building and preparing for it for 8 years. It's offering the world what it needs, and every human being that spends money is going to need it. The world may not be spending cryptocurrency at this moment. There are $4 trillion in crypto wallets to be spent. And the world, but because it's now law, and because all the banks and because all the old banking infrastructure is now integrating it, and all the major banks are now producing their own stable coins. JP Morgan produced theirs last year. It's now running on the Ethereum network. This is going to be adopted relatively quickly. And pretty soon, the world is going to be transacting in crypto. And the company that's at the forefront of it all, that has secured the global payment system, is our company. And so every time the world shuts, we're going to be gaining income from that. So while it's now rolling out into the world, and it's all still a new system that's now rolling out, by the end of 2026, a lot more people are going to be using cryptocurrencies. As it is right now, as a node owner, our nodes produce about 80, I'm just saying this just to give an idea. I'm not going to talk any figures because nobody knows how the future of things. But currently, each CPU node produces about 80 to 100 Phoenix token a day. The value of the token, like all other cryptocurrencies, is just pennies. The Phoenix right now is a fraction of a penny today. But we are mining these tokens every day, even right now. As the system becomes more and more adopted and more people purchase online and in store using cryptocurrencies, of course, that grows. When you think about this space, when you think about cryptocurrencies and those that are in the crypto space, I don't need to say to them because they know exactly how it works. But a lot of people are not familiar with this space. Let's take a relatively new cryptocurrency that's growing in popularity. You heard it mentioned, Kevin O'Leary mentioned it, it's called Solana. Solana came out in 2020. They came out, and like all cryptos, it was just pennies at the beginning. Today, it's worth $138, close to $140 for a token. And that's after 5 years. Ethereum came out 10 years ago, and Ethereum is worth over $3,000, almost close to $4,000 for a token. Now, I'm talking about cryptocurrencies that grow in value just through speculation. They don't have a global economic engine that's driving them. Now, think about, even if it took 1 year for the Phoenix token to value $1, which is, let's say it took 1 year for the Phoenix token to even value 50 cents, and you were mining 80 to 100 tokens a day. That is 24 to 3,000 tokens a month from one node. And let's say it's only valued, the Phoenix is only now valued at 50 cents. How much is that you're earning in a month? And then if you own multiple nodes, multiply that by how many nodes you own. And in 2030, we will be living in a very different world. By then, the whole world would have adopted the cryptocurrencies. Your salaries will probably be in cryptocurrencies by the time we get to that. And the world would be fully adopted by then. What could the value of Phoenix be in the next 2 years, 3 years, even if it was only $10 in value, driven by a global economic engine? And you're earning, it is staggering. Now, but it just over 2 short months that I've been part of it, what I've seen and what I've experienced is not what I expected when I first became part of the global community and I invested into these nodes. What I saw the potential, but I didn't realize it was as great as I've begun to experience. So what we have through the CPU nodes is what I call cash flow. It is payments every day this is happening. It happens 24/7, 365, and it happens in perpetuity. For the life of this global network that it would exist, all the payment systems that we use around this world, from Ingenico, Pax, Verifone, they've been around for decades. This is likely that this is going to be around for decades to come. And so for as long as this exists, every day for the rest of our lives, this is going to be paying. And it is completely passive. You don't have to do anything. You just go into your back office every day and just see it just continually keeps increasing. That is extraordinary. That is cash flow, and it's built in. Here is the part of the four laws. We've solved the problem. We have ownership because we own part of the infrastructure. 3, leverage. The leverage is that because the system is creating value, because it's a global operable system that is continuously expanding. Why? Because the world is continuously adopting it to where it will become the only currency that's happening out there. Now, it is the system that is creating the leverage where money is leveraging money. And the growth now becomes exponential. And what contributes to that exponential growth is the second part of what our nodes are doing. Our nodes are not just mining or producing the Phoenix token every day, it is also producing the Myrix token every day in a much lesser quantity, because the Myrix token, they represent the equity and the value of the entire global ecosystem. So as it grows and more people begin to use the chain, as companies begin to use their lending services, their tokenized services, their blockchain services, as more and more people do that, and the chain goes in value, the Myrix token, which is building lifetime equity. So we're now building equity in the company itself, in its infrastructure. And at any time, that could be now liquidated back into the Phoenix token and monetized. So there are 2 things that's happening simultaneously. We have cash flow, and at the same time, we're building long-term equity. That is financial security. Plus, what we have coming in on a daily basis, there are multiple ways within the ecosystem that we use that to leverage further to create even more income. It is a system unlike I have ever been a part of or ever seen before. And it truly gives the average person an opportunity to participate. And Miracle, Bellator, the marketing arm that brings it to the individuals, have structured it in such a way that the average person can participate in it. And that's where there is a third sector, which is an optional referral program. That optional referral program, which, as it says, is optional, it's for those of us who choose to expand communities of wealth. And a person, it doesn't require any cost to have an account with Bellator, and you can earn your assets as you refer people. There are referral fees that are paid, and you get 6 additional streams of income within the referral program that you can tap into, and that too is paid daily passively. This is not a network marketing structure. This is not where you have to be continuously recruiting people in order to increase your income. This is not a system where it requires monthly sales. You have monthly subscriptions or auto ships. You have monthly qualifying volumes, and this has none of that in it. The income in there is also completely passive, but it works with a tier program depending on how active you are in helping to expand the communities of wealth. You can also earn more and tap into these additional streams of income. The obvious question that will come up is, if there's no monthly sales and all these things required, where is the volume coming from? Well, 20% of the earnings of every single node across the globe goes into the referral program to pay the commissions. So even those who are just passive investors who have invested into the infrastructure and are receiving just their passive income and they're not part of the referral program, even their nodes are paying into the referral program for those who are expanding it to help to earn those commissions as well. So what we have with Metaterra and the miracle opportunity through Bellator is an opportunity unlike I've ever seen before, because it actually taps into those 4 principles or those 4 laws of building wealth in a way that's actually accessible by everyone, and we can all scale through it to create wealth. And so, as we talked about those 4 laws of creating wealth, sustainable wealth, you will find all of them within this system. And so, with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, give you a few minutes if you so desire, if you have any questions that you may want to ask about anything. Let me just unmute. Okay, you can unmute your mics now if there are any questions, or you can put into the chat if you prefer to do that. You can put any questions, comments into the chat, or just unmute and ask your questions. Other than that, your referring partner, you can ask them in order you can become a partner from anywhere in the world. It doesn't have those logistics attached to it by, shipping, customs, and these type of normal things that people have with global expansion. You just have to request your referring partner's link so that you can become integrated into the system. There is no cost to have your account. You can have the full access to your back office suite, and you can just build from there. The asset that you own for life. It is willable, it is transferable, it is saleable. And any other information that you may want regarding the company or what it may offer, you can speak to the referring partner. Let me just